Part 1. The Rule Beneath the Walls. The Rule No One Wrote. There was an unwritten rule among the construction workers who built Blackwood Building. No one worked in the basement after 6 in the evening. No one explained why. No one needed to. The only time someone ignored the rule, a worker took the elevator down at 6:12 p.m. to retrieve tools he had forgotten. The men waited for the sound of it returning. It never did. At 7:03 p.m., something knocked 3 times against the metal shaft door. Not from inside the elevator, from inside the wall. Knock. 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 No one opened it. No one moved. The next morning, the elevator was found at ground level. Empty. But the basement walls were warm. Not damp, not heated, warm, as if something had been breathing there all night. That same evening, someone wrote down the first rule. No one remembers who. No one remembers what it said. The notebook was never found. The man who built it. Leonard Voss believed in concrete. He believed in measurements. He believed empty space was simply space waiting for purpose. When the city clerk told him, "The ground is unstable, there's a lot of air underneath," Voss thought in terms of soil composition. He did not think in terms of cavities. He did not think in terms of chambers. He did not think in terms of something that required room. The land had once been a parish cemetery, abandoned in 1891, then a paint factory where 3 men died from inhalation in 1923, then a municipal storage site where 2 inspectors disappeared in 1944. Their bodies were never recovered. Voss built anyway. 9 stories, reinforced concrete, efficient apartments for people starting over. Within the walls, he left hollow channels for plumbing and insulation, interconnected spaces. In November 1958, during his final inspection, Voss walked the corridors and knocked along the walls with his knuckles. On the 3rd floor, one wall knocked back. 3 times. Measured, deliberate. Voss froze. He knocked once, a reply. Twice, a reply, 3 times, silence. Then the sound moved, not fading, moving, down the hallway, stopping behind him. Voss left that night. Before getting into his car, he looked up. A light was on in a 3rd-floor apartment. The electrical system had not yet been activated. 3 days later, Leonard Voss disappeared. His car was found parked near the building. The keys were still inside, and Blackwood kept his name. That night, the workers stood at the basement door. They didn't go down, they just listened. And from somewhere deep below, something knocked. Not 3 times, just once. Part 2. The Walls That Answer. The Girl Who Heard Them First. January 1959. The Marsh family moved into apartment 101. George, Sylvia, and their 7-year-old daughter, Ruth. Ruth heard them first. Children usually do. The first week she asked, "Who lives inside the walls?" Sylvia laughed. George blamed the pipes. Ruth stopped asking. But at night, when the lights went out, the walls asked her, "What is your name? Will you stay? Will you stay?" Always 3 times. Ruth whispered her answers, because she had been raised to be polite. When the walls answered. 3 months later, George began coming home late. Then not at all. Then never again. Sylvia told the neighbors he had left. But the night he failed to return, the walls stopped asking questions. They said instead, "He is here." Ruth began sleeping with her ear pressed to the wall. One night, Sylvia woke to find her daughter standing in the dark, listening, smiling. "They know my name now," Ruth said. Sylvia reached for her daughter's hand. It was warm. Too warm. The way a wall is warm when something has been resting against the other side for a long time. She pulled Ruth away. Ruth didn't resist, but she turned her head back once. Ruth stopped hearing the walls the following week because the walls were listening through her. At school, she told the other children, "My father didn't leave. He's still home. He's always home." Her teacher called Sylvia. Her teacher never came to the building. Smart woman. Sylvia moved them out in March. Ruth cried the entire drive away. Not for her father, for the walls. She pressed her palm against the car window as the building shrank behind them. A farewell, or a promise. At 9:02 p.m., as the car turned the corner, a light came on in apartment 101. The apartment was empty. It had to be. And from inside the walls, something whispered her name back. Part 3, What Breathes Inside, The Man Who Didn't Answer. In 1961, Walter Aldridge moved into apartment 301. Widower, accountant, methodical. He heard it the first night. He did not panic. For 3 weeks he mapped the sounds, timing, direction, intensity. He reached a conclusion he never spoke aloud. The building was not haunted. Hauntings are passive. This was active. It learned. It learned breathing patterns. It learned insomnia. It learned fear. Walter noticed something else. When he slowed his breathing, the walls slowed with him. When he stayed still, the building stayed still. When he pretended to sleep, something moved closer, slowly, carefully, as if trying not to wake him. Walter made a decision. He would stay, but he would not respond, ever, and for years, it worked, until 1978. One night, the knocking came closer than ever. Right beside his bed, softer, almost careful, waiting. And without thinking, Walter whispered, "I know." Silence. Complete. Total. For 2 days. On the third, something tested his doorknob. From inside the wall, Walter never spoke again. What breathes below? There is a level below the basement. It does not appear on the blueprints. It was never constructed. It is simply there. Maintenance workers who descended never reached its end. Because it doesn't end. The stairs change length. The air changes density. Sound behaves incorrectly. One man came back, pale, shaking, his hands red, as if he had touched something alive, something warm, something breathing. "It isn't a basement," he said. "It's a lung." He described the walls, not flat, not solid, but shifting, expanding, contracting. The deeper he went, the warmer it became. The air thickened, each breath heavier than the last, as if the space was breathing for him and didn't need him to keep doing it. He heard a rhythm, slow, massive. Inhale, hold, exhale, and during the exhale, the walls moved. A week later, he was found dead in his bed, miles away, concrete dust in his lungs, fresh. as if he had never left. It knows you now. Eleanor moved into apartment 302 on a Thursday. The building felt still, the way things feel still when they are paying very close attention. The first night, nothing. The second, nothing. The third, 2:13 a.m. She woke. No sound, just the feeling that something had noticed her. Then, knock, knock, knock. She sat up, not afraid, curious, which is worse. She placed her palm against the wall, warm, like skin. She knocked back 3 times. The reply came from everywhere, walls, ceiling, floor. From somewhere far below, something vast shifted and answered, and down the hall, a door opened. A room that should have been empty was not. Footsteps crossed it. Something sat down. Walter, in 301, heard everything. He pressed his back against the wall, did not move, did not breathe louder than necessary. When morning came, he opened his notebook, every page, blank, every rule, gone. Blackwood Building still stands. The apartments are available. The rent is reasonable. If you stand too long against the wall, it grows warm. If you listen closely, you will hear breathing, and sometimes your name. Do not answer, because the building no longer needs to ask. It already knows who you are. It has known since before you arrived. And tonight, if you're quiet, you might hear it again. From somewhere inside your wall, knock.